I run a small stair shop. We're family owned. We do about 1.8 million in revenue. We've got 17 full-time employees. And my question is, I might get a little emotional here. We lost my dad, who was our founder and our CEO in October.
I'm sorry.
And
how old was he?
Yeah. He was 62.
Wow, young. What happened?
Car accident. Just
no.
Out of the blue.
Man.
So we had been.
How old are you, Josiah?
I'm 39.
Okay. Wow. And you've worked in that business for how long?
Like as my career since about 2010, but I've been sweeping the floor since I was a kid. This was my summer job, home from college, that sort of thing.
Okay. So you've been there your whole working life in this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. And what kind of business did you say it is again?
So we do custom stairs and railings, so mostly high-end residential subcontractor.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So a little bit of commercial here and there, but primarily, $2 million and up.
So a lot of ornamental type stuff then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. I got just an incredible team of woodworkers and metal workers and designers, and my production manager is just awesome. So my dad is the one who built this team, and now I'm, trying to fill in his shoes. We were in a transition path, but it just all accelerated way faster.
What position were you in October at this business?
I was officially like our operations manager, but I think functionally I was more of our lead salesperson and estimator. And now I'm, president of everything.
Yeah. Was your mom on site working before or now?
Yes. Her role has been just our bookkeeper and does our payroll, and that's continued to be her role.
Okay. And she's in her early 60s, I assume.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So she's
and the
still
transition plan that you all had in place was what?
So we had started transferring ownership to me in like 5% increments every year. I don't know the ins and outs of why that was, the accountant's recommendation. But actually, after listening to you and kind of hearing better best practices for how to do these kinds of transitions, we had backed off, and we were going to, at some point in the next few years, figure out a purchase price based on, X amount of years of profits and kind of write up the buy-sell agreement. But all of that has come way more into the foreground than before.
Yeah.
So and that was
how much? Yeah. What percentage do you already own?
10%.
Okay, so it's only been 2 times it happened. Okay.
Yes.
All
yeah.
Right. All right. So there's basically the business is still sitting there in her name now.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I assume he had a will and left it to her.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Did he leave life insurance as well to her?
Yes.
Okay. How much?
I think that was $250, and there's a bunch. It was a car accident, so there's quite a lot of other things that are currently in play there, and it's going to be a lot more than that.
Okay, so there'll be someone else is going to have to pay for the wrongful death.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. All right. Doesn't affect this deal, but it does affect making sure your mom's taken care of is kind of what I'm thinking about, and you are too.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
And so, did they have a nest egg? Are they in good shape financially? Is she okay?
They're okay. They've got. I'm reticent to divulge too much about their personal thing, but they didn't have a huge amount of retirement. I think they've only got maybe 120.
Okay, so this transaction is very important to her future.
Yes. Less important once all of the insurance components are played out.
Yeah, but those take a while, and they take longer than everybody thinks.
Right. And she did get the life insurance already.
Oh, that's true, but I'm talking about there'll be lawsuits over the car thing. The insurance companies will sue each other, and they'll be that begin the lawyer dance, and it takes a while for those lawyers to dance. They're slow dancers.
Yeah. Well, our lawyer is just a family friend, and she's just been incredible. So I'm not too worried about that. But
I'm just telling you, I don't care how long they say it's going to take. Count on twice that. So it's just they just don't do their jobs. All right. So, hey, Okay, so what was the net profit on the $1.8 million?
So yeah, here's the question: is if I run it on cash basis, we lost money. On accrual, because we're in construction, we made $186,000, so about 10%. It's just I had a bunch of jobs close out. Some of those GCs are commercial, which means I invoice in January, and I'm still not getting paid until the end of February on some of those. Which I know that's part
a
of
calendar
how
year
I
thing.
out.
That's a calendar year. The accounting method just straddled the end of the year, and that's what screwed up the books. Okay, so
Right.
What we're looking for here is not necessarily a tax calculation. What we're looking for is what the real business is actually earning.
Yes.
And so the cash basis is a misnomer, but so is the accrual. It's probably the actual earnings are probably somewhere between there, aren't they?
I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if we totaled up the last 3 years or 2 years and said, what was the net profit taxable income for the last 2 years, and just use that number, an average of that, you're probably going to find it to be 100, 125, aren't you?
Yeah. So we've been working on, my dad and I, on doing a lot of on versus in the business. In the last couple of years, we attended Master Series. So we're doing a lot of stuff that's increasing revenues and increasing our profit margins.
Yeah, your profit margins suck.
Yeah, so we're kind of waiting until they got a lot better before doing the determination of the profit price, which I was okay with because that's my future and it takes care of my parents. So it feels like the future of our business is it keeps going up. The profits are going up, revenues are going up, and the purchase price right now may be really advantageous to me, but it doesn't feel like it's taking care of my mom or honoring the foundation that my dad set, if that makes sense. Even though cold hard light a day, it's the business hasn't been super profitable.
If anyone else was buying the business, they would buy it based on today's numbers. It doesn't really matter if the money goes to your mom and then she passes away because you inflated the price, and so more money went to her in the name of honoring her, taking care of her. She passes away. What happens to that money?
Right. Yeah,
it goes back to you,
to me and my siblings. Yeah,
you and your siblings. So now you've honored your siblings.
Mm-hmm.
So where do they work? There?
No, just me.
Okay. And does mom earn a salary for being the bookkeeper?
Yes, she does.
How much?
I think it's about $90,000.
Okay. So technically speaking, mom is able to eat as long as she's able to keep the books.
Yes.
She makes a good income, and she's got $250,000, and she's got an offset, and she's got some money coming. I mean, she's got a car wreck insurance coming, and she's got some money coming from you, and she makes $90,000 a year. So she's okay, man.
Mm-hmm.
She's okay. So if she gets a few $100,000 more from you, because if this thing, let's say it's let's just call it 100. Let's call it 150. We'll be generous, okay?
Yeah,
$150,000 a year net profit. Then I mean, you and your dad have listened to us. You both knew what the numbers were. We're going to say 4 or 5 times that is the value. And what do you make as a salary?
93.
Okay, and that's before this profit occurs, correct?
Correct.
And what was your dad being paid?
He was. I don't remember off the top of my head. I think he was around between 70 and 80 because he was taking more profit distributions.
Yeah. So if from a mathematical standpoint, if you're able to do your old job and be the owner and president of the business, become the new owner and keep your old job covered as well, then you've increased the profit by $70,000, what your dad used to take.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Mathematically, okay? And so, yeah, so we can go with 150 or we can go with a little more. I don't care, but somewhere in there. And so if you said 4 times 150, we're at 600, correct?
Yeah.
Or if you want to do 5 times that would be then $750.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so you know, if you want to be generous, set it at $600 to $750, somewhere in there is not going to be. That's full price, and that's nothing wrong with that. And your mom is okay; she's at that point a millionaire,
Right.
and so and she makes $90,000 a year, and she's 62 years old or whatever. So I think you've honored her, and if worst case something happened that all that fell apart, so you pay her out 100, you pay her 80-90% of profits, and you keep your same salary, she keeps her same salary, then and you set a price, and it pays out in 4 to 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And if you increase your profits, it pays out quicker than that, and she's got that block of money. If I'm her son, I'm going to be sitting down with her and a Smart Vesta Pro and investing that $600,000 or $700,000 that comes in over the next 4 or 5 years in good mutual funds and creates another $100,000 a year in income.
Mm-hmm.
And then whenever she wants to retire and not keep books anymore, she'll have that income plus Social Security, and she's got a big block of money plus $250 to invest from life insurance plus whatever comes from the car wreck dispute. Anyway. Does that all sound right?
It does. It's lining up with what I thought, but it's really good to hear you say it.
Yeah. I think you've honored her. I think you've honored your dad. I think it's a heartbreaking, tearful situation. The great news is that you and your dad were already talking about this, even though it wasn't structurally in place. And you are, what I'm hearing from you is this is what your dad would have done. And so I don't think he would be like saying, oh, Dave and Josiah messed this up. I think he would agree with you and I, wouldn't he?
Yeah. It's just we were hoping to get net profits up for longer that value was higher because, that's just good for everybody. So I think that's where my reticence.
Well, and here's the thing. If the thing kicks up and you start making $400,000 or $500,000 a year out of it 5 years, 6 years from now, and your mom's in trouble, oh, dude, you can help her.
Yeah.
But she's not going to be in trouble. She's going to have $1 million. But she's okay, man. She's got $1 million in this discussion, plus the lawsuit issue.
Yeah.
Man, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. It just turns all this into this heartbreak into a business transaction. But if I run the numbers and it feels right in my heart, then I know my ethics are intact. And if it was going the other way, if your mom called and said, what should I do with Josiah? I would tell her this right here. I told her the same exact thing. So that tells me my ethics and your ethics are in line and honoring your mom and honoring this situation. Wow. What a heartbreak. I'm really, really glad, though, that you and your dad had a bunch of discussions about this. That makes it a lot easier because you were heading in the right way versus the lame-o accountant 5% a year crap. 20 years from now, you will own the business at 5% a year. Shoot me. Wow, that's a bad plan. I'm glad y'all broke that up.